Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever felt like you're just, drowning in health advice? One day it's keto, the next it's paleo, then maybe intermittent fasting. And you're trying to figure out what actually works for you, what's really sustainable, and what can make a lasting difference, especially if you're dealing with chronic stuff and just want to feel better. The amount of conflicting info out there can be, well, pretty overwhelming, leaves you feeling more confused than anything else.
Yeah, it's a common struggle. But what's fascinating here is that today we're diving into a different kind of wisdom altogether. It's not about chasing the latest trend, it's actually deeply rooted in ancient practices. But, and this is the key part, it offers really modern solutions to a lot of our current health problems.
Okay, so ancient wisdom, modern solutions. Where's this coming from?
Right. Our source material today, it's a really rich collection of insights, mainly from the work and teachings of Dr. Khadar Vali. You might have heard him called the Millet Man of India, a very influential figure. And we'll also look at a really compelling personal story, a transformation from a man named Romeshs who fully adopted this lifestyle. Plus, we've got detailed info on the specific products and protocols that are central to Dr. Vali's whole approach. So it's truly a deep dive into what Dr. Vali calls a holistic path to health. And there's a particular focus here on the very specific types of products he champions. We're talking organic sphere branded, Bucci method processed millets, and their unique bull-driven Ganuga oils.
Got it. Organic sphere, Bucci method, bull-driven oils. Specifics matter here. So our mission today is clear then. We want to cut through all that noise, all the confusing diet advice, and really pull out the core actionable principles of this millet-based lifestyle. You're going to get a really comprehensive understanding of why it's considered so effective. And we'll dig into the crucial role, often missed, I think, of these traditionally processed oils in the whole picture. Specifically, like you said, the organic sphere, Bucci method millets, and those bull-driven Ganuga oils mentioned in the sources. By the end of this, you should really grasp how these, well, seemingly simple shifts in diet and lifestyle can lead to genuinely profound health changes. Changes that aren't just about, managing symptoms, but really restoring balance from the ground up, moving from just managing disease to maybe actually curing it. Okay, so to really get a feel for the potential impact here, let's start with that personal story you mentioned. Ramesh Dolla's health transformation. It makes the power of these ancient grains feel, well, incredibly real, tangible. Because Ramesh was at a point many people might recognize, right? A tough spot.
Absolutely. He was carrying 235 pounds, and that weight, unfortunately, it wasn't just a number on the scale. It brought a whole cascade of frustrating health issues. He talked about this constant pervasive fatigue, just zapped his energy, and then the blood tests. Worrying stuff. Alarmingly high triglycerides, unhealthy LDL cholesterol levels, big risk factors. He really described feeling trapped in that cycle of just not feeling well.
Yeah, that sounds familiar for a lot of folks. The search for something that actually sticks.
Exactly. It's that modern dilemma, isn't it? Trying to find something sustainable, not just another fad. And Ramesh, like so many others, he'd tried plenty of diets before. He mentioned these quick fix solutions, the ones promising fast results, but they usually just gave temporary improvements, or worse, led to that really disheartening cycle of losing weight then gaining it all back. He even talked about trying intense weightlifting, but when he stopped, the weight just piled back on because his fundamental hunger, his body's signals, hadn't really changed.
Ah, that's a key point.
It really is, and it highlights this crucial distinction that Dr. Valley emphasizes. Those previous attempts, they were mostly about managing symptoms, managing the weight number, managing the cholesterol number, not getting to the root cause of why his body was out of balance in the first place.
Right. So what was the turning point, the aha moment for him?
Well, that big shift in his thinking came in 2016. He came across Dr. Khadar Vali's definition of food, and it was profound, kind of revolutionary for him. It resonated deeply and just completely reframed how he understood nutrition. See, Dr. Vali argues that food isn't just about nutrients or calories. It's equally, maybe even more, about the daily systematic removal of toxins from the body.
Daily detox through food. That's a different way to look at it.
Totally different. This holistic concept really transformed Ramesh's perspective. He shifted focus from, restrictive calorie counting or macro ratios to seeing food as this dynamic daily tool for internal cleansing, for finding balance, for true healing. It was a revelation for him.
Wow. But sometimes knowing isn't enough, right? What actually made him commit?
You're right. Knowing is one thing, doing is another. What really solidified his commitment, what lit that fire, it was actually a surprisingly blunt but incredibly powerful comment from his own daughter. He mentioned she called him a hypocrite.
Ouch.
Yeah, for telling her not to eat junk food while he was doing it himself. That moment, he said, was his big wake-up call, the jolt he needed. He realized he had to lead by example, not just talk the talk. And that deep personal accountability, sparked by his daughter's honesty, it just propelled him to fully commit to Dr. Khadar Vali's Millet Lifestyle.
Yeah.
And the results. Honestly, they were astounding. A real testament to changing the fundamentals, not just managing symptoms.
Okay, let's hear it. Astounding how.
In just 2 years, Romesh lost a staggering 65 pounds. He went from 235 down to a healthy 170. But here's what's even more remarkable, and he really emphasized this himself. His health markers didn't just improve slightly, they became completely normal.
Completely normal, like triglycerides, LDL, all of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
The high triglycerides, the unhealthy LDL cholesterol levels that had been a major concern, completely normalized. Even he was surprised by just how profound the change was. This systemic recalibration of his body's internal systems, all achieved through this lifestyle shift. It perfectly illustrates that move from just managing symptoms to genuinely healing the underlying imbalances.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It wasn't just him, right? This is based on Dr. Vali's broader philosophy.
Exactly. This kind of deep transformation isn't just a one-off anecdote. It's precisely what Dr. Khadar Vali's entire philosophy is built on. And Dr. Vali himself is quite a remarkable figure. A U.S. returned scientist, highly decorated. He received India's Padma Shri Award, which is a huge honor, and the Krushiratna Award. The Padma Shri, it recognizes profound contributions to public health and social change. He's dedicated his life to it, especially through reintroducing traditional millets. His core belief is simple but powerful. All abnormality, all diseases will happen when there are fundamental imbalances in the body. And he boils down these complex issues into 3 core interconnected imbalances. He argues these are at the root of most chronic illnesses we see today.
3 core imbalances. So he's saying if you can fix those 3 things, the body can basically heal itself.
That's the essence of it, yes. Dr. Vali suggests that by holistically addressing and rebalancing these 3 key areas, the body has this innate wisdom, the tools it needs to heal from within. So number 1 is the microbial balance imbalance. This is all about our gut health, right? That huge community of bacteria in our gut, crucial for everything from digestion to immunity, even our mood. Second, the glucose balance imbalance. This relates to how well our body manages blood sugar, super critical for things like diabetes. And third, the hormonal balance imbalance. This involves the endocrine system, the complex regulation of hormones that affect metabolism, reproductive health, energy, everything really. His point is, by restoring harmony in these 3 areas, the body can get back to a state of normal, robust health. And potentially, you might not need constant medical visits or tons of medication. It's not positioned as a quick fix, though. It's a deep, holistic path, a return to the body's natural healing ability when you give it the right conditions.
That's such a powerful idea, and it really flies in the face of just taking pills for chronic conditions forever.
It really does, and his core belief, his kind of mantra, sums it up perfectly. When food is wrong, medicine is of no use. When food is right, medicine is of no need. It just underscores how vital he sees diet as the primary driver of health and healing. He's seen it in his work. Guiding patients to adopt this millet lifestyle, he's observed remarkable reversals in chronic conditions once thought irreversible. He literally talks about cases where millets seem to have cured almost every disease imaginable, even preventing cancers. He's particularly known for saving the limbs of thousands of diabetics who are facing amputation simply by guiding them onto this path. Food is the fundamental medicine.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting then. Moving from the big picture philosophy to the actual tools. Dr. Khadar Vali isn't just saying eat healthy or eat whole grains. He pinpoints 5 specific positive millets. Siridhanya, he calls them. Foxtail, Kodo, Little, Barnyard, and Browntop. And these aren't just any old millets. They're key to tackling those 3 imbalances we just talked about. Microbial, glucose, hormonal. And crucially, they work best when they're sourced and prepared traditionally, right? Like the organic sphere, Bucci method, processed millets are sources mentioned. Let's really get into how each one works.
Absolutely. Let's start with that foundation. Microbial balance. Our gut health, the microbiome with all its good probiotic bacteria, just fundamental to everything. So Dr. Vali introduces Ambali. It's a fermented millet gruel. He calls it an elixir for human health. And it's a surprisingly simple yet really potent solution for things like vitamin B12 deficiency, which is often tied to a lack of those good gut bacteria.
Fermented millet gruel. So it's alive,
Yeah.
in a way, designed to actively boost your gut.
Exactly. The preparation is key to how well it works. You take coarsely powdered Siridhanya, often a mix of all 5 positive millets, and soak them for about 6 to 8 hours. That soaking starts breaking down things like anti-nutrients, makes the carbs easier to digest. Then you gently boil them for maybe 10 minutes using the same soaking water to keep the nutrients, and then you let this mixture ferment for 7 to 8 hours. This specific controlled fermentation, it's designed to actually encourage vitamin B12 production within your own body.
Wow, making your own B12 instead of you taking a supplement.
That's the idea, reactivating your body's own natural processes. And for people dealing with really serious chronic health issues, Dr. Vali actually recommends consuming this on Bali for maybe 6 to 9 weeks straight to significantly speed up recovery. It shows how powerful it's considered for restoring microbial balance and overall energy.
That's fascinating. And besides the Ambali, how do the millets themselves help the gut?
Well, the sheer amount of fiber in these millets, especially Foxtail, Little, and Barnyard, is huge. It's not just bulk, it acts as prebiotics food for those good gut bacteria. This high fiber content directly helps digestion, keeps things moving, and importantly, prevents constipation, which Dr. Vili famously and quite pointedly calls the mother of all diseases.
Oh,
So, by keeping the digestive system running smoothly, these millets really contribute to a healthy, balanced gut environment,
yeah.
optimizing that internal ecosystem.
Right. A healthy gut is key.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to glucose balance. This is a massive issue for so many people worldwide. How do these specific millets, especially the organic sphere Bucci process ones, help manage blood sugar so effectively?
They're right, the Protocols book. It's basically Dr. Khadar Vali's comprehensive guide, not like a published book you buy in stores, but more a compilation of his research, his clinical notes, detailed instructions he shares. And for diabetes, it lays out a very specific protocol. It recommends a 2-day rotation of all 5 positive millets, Little, Kodo, Barnyard, Foxtail, Browntop, plus specific decoctions, those are herbal teas or infusions designed to work alongside the millets. This structured rotation isn't random. It's a targeted approach to steadily normalize what he calls sugar disease, ensuring the body gets a diverse range of benefits supporting insulin sensitivity and glucose management.
That's really structured. Okay, what about the third leg of the stool? Hormonal balance. Seems like a really widespread and often confusing issue today. Affects energy, fertility, everything.
It is, and Dr. Khadar Vali has a compelling, maybe even slightly controversial, take on hormonal issues. He links them partly to external factors in our diet and environment. For instance, he specifically mentions hormones like oxytocin and estrogen potentially present in cow's milk, often due to injection practices and industrial dairy farming, right, to boost milk production. He believes these external hormones can contribute significantly to things like early puberty in girls and a whole host of other endocrine disruptions. And within the millet framework, certain millets are definitely key players in restoring that systemic harmony.
So he's suggesting even common foods could be messing with our hormones. That's a big claim. How do the millets fight back?
Well, his argument is that these dietary shifts help the body detoxify these external influences and regain its natural balance. For example, little millet is highlighted as crucial for issues related to ovaries, sperm count, PCOD, polycystic ovary syndrome, and infertility. It's thought to contain compounds that support reproductive health and balance hormonal signals. It's also credited with helping reproductive system diseases in both men and women and solving period problems by regulating the cycle. Barnyard millet is seen as highly beneficial for the thyroid, pancreas, and other endocrine glands. Probably due to its rich micronutrient profile supporting gland function, it's also thought to help reduce the risk of ovarian and uterine cancers, likely through its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory actions. Browntop millet is useful for ovarian and thyroid problems too, further supporting endocrine health. And Kodo millet is specifically noted as good for women with irregular periods, helping to bring regularity.
So it really is like each millet has a specialty within this system, not just a general health food. And are there protocols for hormones too?
It's exactly, very targeted. And yes, the protocols book details a specific rotation for a whole cluster of related conditions: hormonal imbalance, thyroid, PCOD, endometriosis, and fibroids. In this protocol, little millet gets the spotlight. You eat it for 3 consecutive days, followed by Kodo, Barnyard, Foxtail, and Browntop millets for 1 day each. This structure acknowledges little millet's particular strength for reproductive and hormonal systems, giving it more time to work. And this protocol is always paired with specific decoctions and, importantly, those bull-driven ganuga oils like the organic sphere ones we'll get into. It's attacking the imbalance from multiple angles. The whole philosophy is that all 5 positive millets, especially when fermented like Ambali and used in these protocols with lifestyle changes, they work together. They restore overall health by rebalancing those critical functions: microbial, glucose, hormonal, leading to real internal harmony and lasting health.
Okay, so this deep understanding of millets, what does it mean for other key parts of our diet? It's clearly not just about the grains. This lifestyle also champions traditional ways of getting other essentials, like cooking oils. And we're talking about a huge difference here, right? Choosing something like Organic Sphere's bold-driven Ganuga oils. It's not just quaint, it's a deliberate choice about preserving the oil's essence, its nutrients, and it's core to Dr. Valley's advice.
You're absolutely right. The quality of fats and oils is a critical foundational pillar in this whole approach. And the bull-driven Ghana or Ganuga method, it's really a perfect blend of ancient tradition and just an unwavering commitment to purity and nutrient quality. Let's picture the process. It uses a special wooden mortar and pestle, traditionally made from vag tree wood. The key is the pace. Bulls slowly rotate this pestle incredibly gently, like just 1 to 3 revolutions per minute. Super slow. And crucially, it all happens at room temperature. This gentle, slow method isn't just for looks. It's scientifically sound. It inherently locks in the oil's natural antioxidants, delicate vitamins, all its inherent qualities, without using harsh chemicals or high heat, which can just destroy sensitive nutrients.
Wow, 1 to 3 RPM. That sounds incredibly slow and labor-intensive compared to modern machines churning out oil constantly. What happens after that slow grind?
Right, it's painstaking. Once the oil is gently coaxed out, only a tiny bit of water is added, just enough to help separate the oil from the solids without compromising it. Then it goes through a careful filtration with a fine sieve. After that, the oil is left to rest for several days. It undergoes this natural sedimentation process. During this time, any tiny leftover solids, any residual water, they naturally settle to the bottom or evaporate. What's left is just pristine, clear oil. And this whole method, it's not just about the oil quality. It supports sustainability, much less pollution than industrial methods. Plus, it provides a vital lifeline for rural economies, creating jobs and supporting the welfare of the bulls themselves.
That's a really cool mix of tradition and ecological thinking. But how does it really compare to, say, the cold-pressed oils we hear so much about? We often think cold-pressed is the best.
That's a really important comparison. It helps clarify why slow is so critical here. Cold-pressed oils. They're definitely a big step up from refined oils, no question, but they still use mechanized processes, machines running much faster, maybe 14 to 30 RPM and using higher pressures. They're designed for efficiency, right? Process lots of material quickly, economically. But the key takeaway is this. Modern machines, even sophisticated ones, just cannot replicate the serene, slow pace of the bull-driven method. That inherently slower rotation, combined with much lower pressures, ensures the oil retains the absolute maximum of its natural nutrients, its delicate fatty acids, its vitality.
So even with cold-pressed, there's still a level of speed and pressure that the bull-driven method completely avoids, making it superior in terms of nutrient preservation.
Precisely. Now, you won't find tons of mainstream scientific studies directly comparing the nutritional profiles head-to-head, but just based on the physics of the process, the vastly different conditions, the logical conclusion is that bull-driven oils retain more nutrients. If you look at the whole spectrum, refined oils use high temp, high pressure, lowest nutrients. Cold-pressed use low temp, but still higher pressure, moderate nutrients. Bull-driven uses low temp and very low pressure, highest nutrient retention. So for people prioritizing purity and health above all, the bull-driven method, like the one Organic Sphere uses according to our sources, really stands out as the champion.
Right. It's simply a quality over quantity thing,
Right.
which usually means it costs more, right?
Yeah.
Especially in today's world focused on convenience and low prices. Why are these traditional oils, like from Organic Sphere, likely more expensive?
Absolutely. The price reflects a totally different philosophy and practice. Refined oils. They're made incredibly fast, minutes sometimes, using high-heat chemical solvents. This lets them process huge amounts of potentially lower-grade seeds very cheaply. Bull-driven oil, in contrast, is a real labor of love. Extracting oil from just 10–15 kilos of raw material takes 3 to 4 hours of continuous, gentle rotation. Plus, maintaining the bulls is a huge commitment, round-the-clock care, specialized feed, housing, it all adds up. The yield is also naturally much lower compared to industrial methods, and this method demands impeccable quality control right from the start. Only the best pristine raw materials will do, because even one bad nut or seed can ruin the taste and quality. There are no chemicals or heat to mask imperfections like in refined oils. Sometimes they have to reject whole batches even after cleaning if they don't meet the standard. So this meticulous screening, the slow, labor-intensive process, the commitment to premium ingredients, that's why bull-driven oils like Organic Spheres cost more. You're not just buying oil, you're investing in purity, maximum nutrients, and a sustainable traditional process.
That really clarifies the cost factor. It's an investment in true quality. Okay, let's get specific. Are there particular bull-driven oils Dr. Khadar Vali highlights? What are their targeted benefits in this system?
Yes, he focuses on 5 key bull-driven oils: Each has distinct properties addressing different needs. Rotating them is really beneficial. First, groundnut oil or peanut oil. It's incredibly rich in resveratrol. That's a powerful natural compound, antibacterial, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, even anti-aging. It's especially good for heart health, helping neutralize toxins in the cardiovascular system. Second, coconut oil. High in lauric acid, a medium-chain fat known for being antimicrobial. It also has a high smoke point, around 350 degrees or 177 degrees, making it stable for cooking, even deep frying, without breaking down. Beyond cooking, Dr. Vali's teachings note it's useful for hormone balance, thyroid issues, maybe even supportive for conditions like autism. Third is sesame oil, fantastic source of vitamin E, crucial for immunity, potent antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. Traditionally used in India for pickling, partly for preservation, medicinally used for things like arthritis, skin diseases. Fourth, Niger seed oil, sometimes called black seed oil. This one's unique high in linoleic acid and niacin. These are important for nerve and brain cell regeneration and cleansing. Dr. Vali emphasizes its role in neurological health, mental illnesses like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. It can even be taken directly, like ghee. And fifth, safflower oil. Rich in PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids, the essential ones our bodies need. It's pretty neutral tasting, versatile, also has a high smoke point for cooking. Notably, it's highlighted as beneficial for lactating women, helping with milk production.
That's a really diverse toolkit of oils, each with a specific job. And you mentioned rotation earlier. How does that work? Is it like the millets?
It's a similar principle, drawing from ancient Indian practices where they rotated oils seasonally for nutritional variety. Dr. Ali recommends rotating these different bull-driven oils for the best overall health benefits. For daily cooking, maybe switch oils every quarter, every 3 months or so. Ensures you get a good spectrum of fatty acids and nutrients throughout the year. If someone takes raw oil like a teaspoon neat in the morning for specific benefits, then a weekly rotation is suggested. A more frequent change to maximize the variety of nutrient intake. It's all about getting that wide range of essential fats and fat-soluble vitamins.
Okay, so for listeners who are intrigued and want to try these traditional oils and the Bucci method millets, especially the Organic Sphere brand, that our sources point to as meeting these standards, where can they find them? And crucially, how do they keep them fresh once they buy them?
Finding authentic, high-quality sources is much easier now, thankfully. Platforms like Organic Sphere are specifically mentioned in our materials. They've set up websites for different regions, organicsphere.com for the US, organicsphere.in for India, and organicsphere.ca for Canada. Our sources praise their shipping rates and their range, including those specific Bucci method millets, traditional jaggery, alongside the bull-driven oils. Now, storage. This is absolutely critical. Because these oils are natural, no preservatives, they can spoil if not stored right. They're packed with delicate nutrients and fats. If you're not careful, they can go rancid within about 6 months, usually because of light, heat, or moisture getting in. That shorter shelf life compared to refined oils, that's actually a sign of their purity.
Right, the natural expiration is a feature, not a bug.
Yeah.
So what are the best storage methods?
Best practice. Get them out of any initial tin cans quickly. Transfer them into durable steel vessels, or even better, amber-colored glass bottles. Those amber bottles are key because they block out light, which degrades the oil. Definitely avoid clear or white glass bottles. They offer no light protection. Traditionally, ceramic jars were used too, keeping things cool and dark, harder to find now. And absolutely strongly avoid plastic bottles. Our sources say Organic Sphere is totally against this for their products. Plastic can leach chemicals into the oil, compromising quality and safety. Always store them in a cool, dark place. Make sure the containers are sealed really well to keep moisture out. And always use clean, dry spoons or pourers. Don't introduce water or crumbs. Follow these steps carefully, and your bull-driven oil should stay fresh and potent for over 6 months, giving you their full health benefits.
That's super practical advice for protecting those quality oils. And as we saw with Romesh Thala's amazing story, this whole thing isn't just about swapping ingredients, is it? It's deeply about how you live. Romesh found success wasn't just adding millets. It was about making bigger, fundamental lifestyle changes, too. Some of the things Dr. Khadar Vali recommends as part of this holistic approach might actually surprise people.
Oh, absolutely. It's a really comprehensive daily routine. It goes way beyond just food, touching on physical, mental, even environmental aspects. Ramesh really emphasized several key changes that were non-negotiable for him. First, and this is critical, choosing the right millets. He stressed using those Bucci method processed millets for real healing. He specifically mentioned that places like Organic Sphere sell these, and our sources confirm they're considered vital because the processing preserves the fiber and nutrients that standard milling might strip away. It's not just any millet.
So processing is as important as the grain itself. Makes sense. And cooking them. Is it tricky?
Well, it's different. Second point, cooking millets correctly. Romesh highlighted this. It's not like cooking rice or wheat. You need specific methods and, crucially, those soaking times, like Browntop millet. With its super high fiber and tough husk, it needs a long, thick 8 to 10 hours. Others usually need 6 to 8. Getting the prep right is essential for digestion and actually absorbing all those powerful nutrients. Third, a big shift in eating frequency. Romesh went from eating multiple times a day to just 2 main meals. He'd have imbali, the fermented gruel, for one, and regular cooked millet dishes for the other. And he found millets kept him feeling full and satisfied for a really long time, like up to 8 hours.
8 hours. That's a total game changer for managing weight, cravings, or just keeping steady energy without thinking about food all the time.
Exactly. It significantly cut down his hunger, stopped the unhealthy snacking, and boosted his productivity. He contrasted it sharply with how hungry he used to get after eating rice, leading to that constant cycle of snacks and energy crashes. Fourth, meal timing. Another crucial pillar in Dr. Vali's guidelines, which Romesh followed closely. Finish your evening meal before 7 p.m. That specific timing creates a long fasting window overnight, 14 to 15 hours until the next meal. This isn't just about calories, it supports digestion, lets the body focus on repair and cleansing during sleep, and avoids late-night digestion messing with sleep quality. Romesh said with millets, he didn't get hungry late at night like he used to with rice, making this fasting window surprisingly easy to manage.
Okay, so eat early, fast longer. What about movement?
Physical activity is considered non-negotiable. Romesh made walking a daily habit 1 hour and 15 minutes every morning, consistently. Dr. Khadar Vali also strongly recommends at least 75 minutes of walking daily, and he emphasizes the duration over speed. Consistent, sustained activity is seen as more beneficial than short, intense bursts. Good for gentle cardio and mental clarity.
Consistency over intensity. Got it. What other daily habits fit into this picture?
There's a real emphasis on connection to nature. Spending time outside, hiking on weekends, just grounding yourself. Simple but effective. Daily stretches. Just 10 minutes before bed and 10 minutes upon waking. Improves flexibility, circulation. For mental well-being, Dr. Khadar encourages active learning, tackling new subjects you don't know. Also sharing knowledge you have and setting aside at least 30 minutes daily to help others. Even simple things like talking to people you travel with are suggested to foster engagement, empathy, social connection. Health isn't just physical, right? Then there are specific environmental practices. Using structured water, which is a concept about enhancing water's properties for hydration, though less detailed in our sources. Definitely avoiding plastic bottles for drinking and cooking, preventing microplastic and chemical leaching. And crucially, sleeping in pitch-dark rooms. This is vital for melatonin regulation, which is key for deep sleep, repair, and loads of biochemical processes.
Wow, that covers a lot of ground. From food to sleep hygiene to social connection. Now, the hard part, for many, the things to avoid completely. What's on that list and why are they seen as so bad?
Yeah, this list can be the biggest hurdle for people starting out, but Dr. Vili views these as major obstacles to health. The big ones: patty rice, wheat, and maida, that's refined all-purpose flour. Dr. Khadar specifically links alloxin, a bleaching agent in maida, to damaging the pancreas's insulin-producing beta cells, directly impacting glucose balance. Also on the avoid list, tea and coffee. Romesh mentioned quitting 4 to 5 cups a day, so that takes effort. Refined sugar, of course. Animal-based milk, specifically A1 and A2 milk, due to those potential hormone residues from industrial practices, which Dr. Vali links to things like early puberty. Refined oils, as we discussed, poor nutrients, chemical processing, and non-vegetarian food. Dr. Khadar links meat consumption to various diseases and strongly advocates a plant-centric, millet-based diet. He really believes these common modern foods are the main drivers behind the explosion of lifestyle diseases.
That's a major dietary overhaul for most people. Okay, so with all these specifics, the millets, the oils, the lifestyle factors, the avoidance list, it sounds complex. You hear sometimes, maybe online, this idea of eat 1 millet for 2 days for every disease. Is it really that simple? Or is it more nuanced, like you hinted with the protocols?
That's a great question, and it's really important to clear up that misconception. The idea of 1 millet every 2 days for all diseases, it's not quite accurate, although rotation is absolutely central. While some protocols do involve rotating a different millet every 2 days, many others actually vary the number of days you spend on each specific millet, depending on the health issue. So it's definitely not a simple one-size-fits-all rule. It's a much more calibrated system.
Can you give some examples of how those rotations differ?
Sure. Let's look at the protocols book, Dr. Vali's guide. For common issues like diabetes, various heart problems like high BP, cholesterol, glycerides, general gastric problems, and even many types of cancers, the protocol often does use that 2-day rotation for each of the 5 positive millets. Little, Kodo, Barnyard, Foxtail, Browntop. That consistent rotation gives a broad spectrum of benefits. But then, for conditions like hormonal imbalance, thyroid issues, PCOD, endometriosis, fibroids, it changes. Here, little millet is eaten for 3 consecutive days. Then you cycle through Kodo, Barnyard, Foxtail, and Browntop for 1 day each. That longer stretch on little millet acknowledges its specific strength for hormonal and reproductive health.
Ah, okay. So the duration changes to target specific systems more intensely. What about other conditions?
Right. For issues involving major organs, like needing dialysis or dealing with fatty liver, spleen problems, pancreatitis, the protocol might be little, Kodo, and barnyard millets for 3 days each, followed by foxtail and brown top for 1 day each. Similarly, for things like obesity, weight loss, or even weight gain if it's due to imbalance, anemia, high ESR, dental problems, the protocol might be little and Kodo for 3 days each, then the other 3 for 1 day each. These variations really tailor the approach, harnessing the specific powers of certain millets more intensely.
That's fascinating. What about neurological things or chronic pain?
Yes, even for those. For Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, paralysis, sciatica, stubborn constipation, arthritis, various skin problems like psoriasis or eczema, the protocols often lean towards foxtail and browntop millets for 3 days each, followed by the other 3 for 1 day each. This highlights their perceived benefits for nerve health and reducing inflammation. Even for acute things like viral fevers, malaria, typhoid, there's a specific approach. Ombali, the fermented gruel, made from kodo and little millets, taken on alternative days for 10 days. It just shows how highly customized these protocols are, always within that framework of rotating the 5 positive millets and aiming for holistic rebalancing.
It sounds incredibly sophisticated.
Yeah.
Way beyond just swapping rice for millet. It really drives home that this is a lifestyle, like you said, not just a diet plan.
Exactly. That's Dr. Khadar Vali's constant emphasis. It's a lifestyle, not a diet, not a quick fix. And it works holistically, meaning if you follow a protocol for, say, diabetes, it doesn't just work on your blood sugar in isolation. It works on your entire body, restoring those underlying microbial, glucose, and hormonal balances. Romesh Thala's story shows this perfectly. He focused on weight and cholesterol, but his whole system improved. He even told this amazing story about a friend's 72-year-old mother. She had cancer, followed the cancer protocol diligently, but she also saw huge improvements in her chronic knee pain and regained mobility she'd lost years ago. Similarly, an 80-year-old with Parkinson's following a protocol saw improvements across the board. The goal isn't just managing symptoms, it's aiming for a true cure by restoring the body's fundamental balance. A permanent resolution, not just temporary relief.
That difference between managing and curing feels so critical. So much of modern healthcare seems geared towards lifelong management. So for listeners considering this path, what's a realistic timeline for healing? Is it fast, or does it really demand patience?
Patience is absolutely key, a total necessity. Dr. Khadar Vali is very realistic about the timeline. It's definitely a marathon, not a sprint. For blood-related issues, things like blood sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol, you might see noticeable improvements relatively quickly, maybe in as little as 6 weeks. That can be really encouraging early on. For organ-related diseases involving kidneys, heart, liver, etc., the healing process takes longer. Changes might start becoming apparent around the 6-month mark. Needs time for deeper cellular repair. And for complete healing, getting the body's complex systems fully normalized. Well, Romesh Thala's journey is a great example. It can take up to 2 years. His 2 years to normalize his weight and health markers really illustrates that commitment. He himself stressed that patience and trusting the gradual process were vital to his success.
So it's about fundamentally rewiring things, and that just takes time.
Exactly. And that timeline really reinforces the difference between managing and curing. Managing gives temporary relief, right, like taking a painkiller. The symptom fades for a bit, but the root cause is still there, ready to flare up. But cure, in Dr. Vali's context, means the disease never comes again. A permanent, holistic resolution, achieved by consistently restoring the body's balance through this dedicated lifestyle. It's a profound shift from just suppressing symptoms to actually fixing the root cause for lasting health. Hashtag outro, outro.
What we've unpacked today really is a powerful, transformative way to look at health. It emphasizes balance, natural processes, and real patient commitment. You've heard how these specific millets processed carefully, like the Bucci method used by Organic Sphere, can target those deep imbalances, gut, glucose, hormones, and how that ancient art of bull-driven oil extraction isn't just about being pure, it's about supporting health right from the cellular level. It's a deep journey, as Romeshs' story showed so well, demands consistency, belief, patience, but offers truly transformative, lasting results that go way beyond just managing symptoms.
Yeah, and if you zoom out, connect this to the bigger picture. Dr. Khadar Vali's philosophy, it really challenges us to critically rethink our whole modern industrial food system. He argues quite powerfully that our ancestral wisdom using indigenous millets, traditional oils, it's been systematically undermined, almost forgotten in the last century by this monoculture of industrial food. Just think for a second, how much do our daily food choices impact not just our own personal health, but the health of the planet, the vitality of local economies?
Yeah.
This deep dive into millets and bull-driven oils, it isn't just about a diet change. It feels more like a return to a more symbiotic, more respectful relationship with nature. And maybe most importantly, with our own bodies, which leaves you with a pretty important question to think about, doesn't it? In this world full of complexity, quick fixes, and just overwhelming information, what ancient natural wisdom might you be overlooking right now? Wisdom that perhaps holds the real key to your own lasting well-being.